Hey everybody, today we are taking a look at the Volkswagen Arteon, one of the best designs in the new car market, and we're going to take a look at the outside, the inside, and take it for a quick spin and let you know, should you buy the Arteon over one of this vehicle's newest competitors, the Toyota Crown. So let's talk about this vehicle. Well, in an age when Volkswagen is really shifting to almost all crossovers in their lineup, the Arteon is a refreshing look at a sporty sedan slash coupe, and I say slash coupe because this car has a super aggressive roof line that tapers into the trunk back here, and it gives it one of the coolest looks on the market. I think this is a fantastic car. It debuted a little while ago, and when it debuted, the world was pretty shocked by the overall design on this vehicle, and it's just gotten better over the years. So let's start in the front. I love these horizontal streaks that comprise the grille and actually make their way up here into the headlight design. Now this is the R-Line, so it's a sporty looking trim. The R-Line doesn't really give you a lot more performance from an engine standpoint, but it does give you some cool little badging here, some additional treatment to the overall design. Now these gray wheels look fantastic, and it's actually a surprisingly small combination here. So we are rolling on an 18-inch wheel and then an all-season tire, but that gives this car a really good ride, and we're going to see that in the driving portion here in a second. But let's take a quick look underneath the hood. So while the Toyota Crown has gone hybrid, right, you could also argue that this competes with vehicles like the Dodge Charger, which V6 and V8 options. The Arteon is only available in 4-cylinder turbo configuration. It's a 2-liter 300 horsepower, just under 300 pound-feet of torque, and then that's powering either the front wheels or all wheels, depending on the configuration. And the pricing on this vehicle, we're talking like mid to high $40,000 as equipped. But look at this color, especially in this early morning Florida sun. It looks great. So other things worth noting too, the LED headlights provide a great amount of light and look really cool, especially when they're on. You get this really nice strip illumination, which continues up here to the front, outlining the newer Volkswagen logo design. Got R badging along the side here, a chrome window trim which extends around the belt line, and then as we make our way to the rear, small little deck lid spoiler there on the R-Line version, Arteon spelled out in the rear. And then let's see, exhaust, real, fake, oh, just a panel there, so not an actual real exhaust. And I do love that little slim line up there on the high mountain chimsel. Now this is a conventional, it is not, I just lied to you, it's a hatchback. I haven't had my early morning coffee. It's like 6 in the morning here in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a hatchback, and what that means is that you get an enormous amount of space in the rear here for all your things. So unlike a traditional sedan where you lift it up, you got a small liftover entry, this thing is huge. And with the seats folded down, you get a little bit of a hump with this little divider here to make its way into the trunk here. But while I'm back here, let's talk about the rear seat space, because I think this is one of the biggest selling points of the Arteon. Look at the sheer amount of space I have back here. Absolutely crazy. I'm 6'1". This is my driving position, and the space is just immense. Check that out. Lowering the power liftgate there. So huge amounts of legroom. Some of the best legroom I've experienced in just about any new car. That's absurd. Unreal. Now we do have rear seat air vents in this model. We don't have any of the like heated seats back here, and no third climate control, but I just can't get over that legroom. I mean, it's like business jet level. And then headroom, well, that's going to be the compromise of having that sloping rear roof line there. You do definitely lose some headroom. Back here, you do have this white stitching, which looks quite nice, and then some black trim there, contrasting against the door handle. Small speaker there, larger speaker in the door, and this is a true 5-seater because you have 3 inch seating. Let's pull this down. Good sized cup holders, and for my skiers out there, even a ski pass-through. So you could have 4 people take this vehicle up to the mountains and enjoy a great day out on the slopes. Now, stepping into the front of the Volkswagen Arteon, lots and lots of screens, lots and lots of touch-sensitive controls. Let's go ahead and push the start button. The car will glide into life there. Now, this model does have a fully digital instrument cluster. configurable, tells you all your important information that you need up there. You can control it via these buttons here in the steering wheel. You can see your audio, your telephone, vehicle information. And we also have a full suite of safety gear, including adaptive cruise control and lane centering. The lane centering seems to work pretty darn well on the road. It does a good job of, like, you know, not being too intrusive. And then a couple other things worth noting up over here. The controls on the steering wheel are all touch sensitive, so they are buttons, so you can push in on them, but then you can also scroll via just sliding your finger up and down. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but overall I don't find it to be too intrusive. Over here on the left side of the steering wheel, we have automatic headlights. You can flick it to the parking lights and the high beams, and then we also have a control here for the all-weather lights. Push in on the button and engage the all-weather lights. Of course, 4 power windows over here, and then your trunk release there. Now the screen, one thing I really appreciate about the screen is that unlike the newest Volkswagen system, we do have knobs. So we have a knob here for volume, and then we have a multi-function knob over here on the right side of the steering wheel. And of course, the buttons on the side of the screen are touch sensitive, but I really like them a lot. I think they did a good job. Oh, you can also control various things from your digital cockpit all throughout here. And you also have auto or classic gauge designs, which is pretty neat. And it's a good screen. I think this is much better than the newest Volkswagen system, like you'd find in the Volkswagen ID4. So I kind of wish that Volkswagen would have stuck with this. Now underneath that, we have our climate control panel here. Heated seats, once again, all touch sensitive. Fan controls, you can slide up and down. Same thing with the temperature. It's not too bad once you get used to it, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. Transmission right here. I do like the conventional gear knob or gear selector instead of like a little knob or dial. 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, by the way, with paddle shifting control. And then we have mode selection here: eco, comfort, normal, sport, and custom, all via the buttons there. Lots of blank panels on this R line here. Dual cup holders with this little slider. Height amount of sight. Armrest lifts up. Good size little armrest there, and it's also height adjustable. So that's the basis of the Arteon, but let's get it on the road, take it for a quick spin, and see what it drives like. Behind the wheel of the Arteon, merging onto the main road here, unleashing 300 horsepower. Oh, that is a lot of horsepower to be going through the front wheels. Now, the acceleration is impressive. There's just no way around it. And the torque delivery is really impressive. You get a lot of push right off of idle, and then it actually pulls pretty hard through even the higher RPMs. It doesn't sound fantastic. You do get a little bit of turbo noise, which is pretty fun. And the downshift, well, it's a little slow, but then it kicks in pretty good. And this dual clutch transmission is an absolute peach. When you go to shift, especially using the paddles, it's really quite quick. Now the ride quality is exceptional in this car, and I think it's largely due to the 18-inch wheels. Now in the lineup, there's SE, SEL, and SEL Premium. The SE starts in the $43,000 range, and that's what we're driving today. And I actually think it's very well equipped for that starting price, with adaptive cruise, lane centering, LED headlights, all that for like the low to mid $40,000 range is really pretty good. So this is probably the one I would recommend going for. You can get it into the $50,000 range if you get the SEL Premium, big wheels, all that kind of thing, but save the money and get this model. I think that's kind of the sweet spot. The tricky part about this car ride is it's kind of playing in a segment that's not hugely popular. Vehicles like the Tiguan, the Atlas Crossport, the full-size Atlas, right? These are much more popular vehicles. The Arteon, though, kind of stands alone now in the Volkswagen lineup. The Passat is going away, right? And most of Volkswagen's new vehicles have been small to medium crossover. So to have a vehicle with this form factor is pretty cool. It's verging on premium, and that's always been the thing about the Arteon, is it's not quite a full-on luxury vehicle, but it's definitely not what you'd consider to be like a traditional entry-model Volkswagen. It kind of straddles the line. And the other nice thing about this car is it's pretty unusual. You don't see yourself coming or going. Now, I would probably, the tricky thing is, like, I'd like a higher model because you get the all-wheel drive as standard. The front wheel drive is okay, but especially like living where I live in Colorado, having that all-wheel drive would be a fantastic feature. And but then you got to deal with the larger wheels and the additional expense, so a little bit of a trade-off there. But Arteon, You know, if you want an unusual vehicle with a lot of power, that's been the biggest surprise to me, is just you get a lot of push. It does overwhelm the front wheels, especially in turns. You do get some torque steer, and it is easy just to spin those up in a traction control, cut them off. But the power on this car is one of the most underrated features. Not a lot of folks talk about just how quick this car is. 300 horsepower going back 5-10 years would have been serious power that you get like in a Mustang. Now you can get it in a Volkswagen hatchback with a huge trunk. Pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. This has been Tommy. Just a quick little video as I head out of the airport here in Jacksonville. Big thank you to Volkswagen for letting me in this car, and we'll see you in the next video.